All right, welcome to the last day of CSCI 41. There is going to be a class on Monday, mostly just to work on your projects. So this is the last lecture. I'm probably not even going to record the class on Monday, so this will be the end of the playlist for CSCI 41. It is, yeah. So give yourselves a round of applause for sticking with it, hanging in there. CSCI 41 is not an easy class. You have to kind of get your game on point to do it. You have to stay on top of the ball. You got to put the hours in. You got to put the effort in. It's probably got the highest failure rate of any computer science class in our district and maybe nationwide. So that's why at the beginning of the semester I said this is the crucible of souls, right? I made it the icon for the class, right? Because it's not easy. We had a lot of people drop out. Not as many as you might expect, but for a number of people. And the good news is that you guys know C++ now, assuming you've kind of been paying attention. With this class, you've learned classes and structs and public and private and protected and inheritance and templates, and a good chunk, the important parts of the standard library. There's a lot more to the standard library. And there's more to C++ as well. You'll never finish learning C++. It is a very complicated language, but what I've done is sort of pulled out the important parts and been like, here, this is what you need to know. And with the tools that you have under your belt right now, you're basically capable of writing anything. You might not have like the mental, strength, and discipline and practice to actually write like World of Warcraft or some huge thing like that. But that just comes with practice. So with the skills that you have right now, you could go out and get a job as a junior programmer. In fact, that's what I did. I took 40 and 41, the equivalent of that at UC San Diego called CSC 10 and 12. And then I went and I got a job. And I worked as doing virtual reality game development for a couple of years. And it's not like the code that I wrote back then was good, from my perspective now, but it wasn't like I had some like huge gaps in my knowledge. Like there's always things you learn when you work on the job. Like right now you probably don't know how to play a sound or get a mouse click or display, graphics and there's a lot of things like you still have to learn, but like the basics, the fundamentals, and that's what employers hire for. Like they don't want to hire somebody and be like, all right, this is what a variable is. This is what a for loop is. Like they don't want to like that. They want you to come to them with the knowledge of like how to make a function and like the basics, And then after that, they will teach you like, okay, we're using these tools here. We'll teach you on the tools that we use at our company. And as long as you have a good foundation and like how to make a class and call functions and call by reference and all that kind of stuff, then you're fine. You'll be fine. And any games you can say you've worked on. What I'm most famous for doing is a mod of Quake called Custom Team Fortress, which is Team Fortress, if you're familiar with the game, where you can build your own class. And so if you want to be a spy that can use the sniper rifle, you can do so. There's a point-based system. Later mods may or may not have copied me. Like there's this indie game called Counter-Strike that came out after my mod. And I talked with the guy who made Gooseman, like back in the early alpha days. It was just him and I think maybe his wife on like a server, and we were just talking. And I was like, hey, my mod clearly because they were playing Team Fortress. Like my Team Fortress clan moved to Counter-Strike like back in the first alphas. I was like, hey, I'm this famous mod author. You want my help with Counter-Strike? He's like, nah, I'm all right. I got this. And as it turns out, he did have it. He did. Gooseman did quite well with the whole Counter-Strike thing. So he did not, in fact, need my help. But that's kind of where I was at. It was like 97, 98, somewhere around there, plus or minus. And I had 1 million unique users play my game. Like it's fairly successful, and people still play it today. So There is, and to be fair, like the concept is pretty fun. Like there is something just kind of neat about being able to make your own class in Custom Team Fortress. My inspiration for the game was BattleTech. I liked playing a lot of BattleTech. I played it semi-competitively, like middle school and high school, and they had this VR game um, that you could actually go into a pod, a Mech Warrior pod. Like if you've played the Mech Warrior games, it's the same universe, BattleTech. But you could actually sit inside of like a mech cockpit, and there's like buttons you can hit and like vent your coolant, and like these screens, and like it was like, and it had ammo counts. Like it was pretty legitimate. It costs like $15 to play for like 15 minutes or something like that. Like it was pretty pricey, and for a high schooler, I couldn't really afford it. But like I was into that kind of stuff, and so I like the idea in BattleTech you can like customize mech with more speed or more armor or more weapons and things like that. And so that was sort of the inspiration for me doing Custom Team Fortress. It's got a point based system, so it's balanced, right? And there's no like one build that like dominates the game. And then like parts of my mod were incorporated into another indie game. Are you guys familiar with this indie studio called Blizzard? They're like based out of Irvine, I think. Like they're a little small team down there. The Blizzard people were fans of Team Fortress. If you play the original StarCraft, the StarCraft mod that comes with StarCraft is Team Fortress for StarCraft. So you can play as a pyro and it's a little fire bat that sprays things and things like that. So most of the budget goes to legal. Yeah, these days, right? Yeah. So when Blizzard made Overwatch, they copied a fair chunk of Team Fortress. Like you can even describe Overwatch as like Team Fortress 3, or like maybe Team Fortress 2 with some MOBA elements mixed in with the notion of like having an ult and things like that, kind of mixed into it. And so some components of Overwatch, I'm reasonably confident came from my game. Like Farah's hover boots are like exact same amount of fuel, exact same mechanics on how it recharges and hovers and everything. Like it's like straight up like just exactly how the hover boots I added to Custom TF worked. And I copied it from Zelda 64, so it's not like I'm claiming having some sort of like hugely original ideas. But yeah, the notion of being able to like jump off a ledge and then hover for a brief period of time, it's fun. It's neat. It's interesting in a first-person shooter. And so that's Farah's kind of like mechanic. Her ult is also a cluster rocket, which I implemented into Custom TF. And it's impossible to say if they actually played it or not, or even if the people who are there now, after their legal issues, would even know where it came from. But I've always been curious. I've always kind of wanted to like ask them, like, so tell me, like, any of you guys play my game? Kind of, yeah. No legal liability, because I just think it's cool. Everybody copies from each other in the video game industry anyway. But when I checked on their Wikipedia page, they said, the design for Torbjorn or whatever came from an unreleased Blizzard game called Project Titan. It's like, okay. I mean, Torbjorn is the engineer from TF2, right? Like, it's like, okay, sure it is. Great artist skill. Yeah, like I just think it's cool, and it gives me a little bit of street cred, But yeah, like a million people played it based on usernames, which may or may not be a good player count because people can change their name. But yeah, pretty successful. The VR games that I worked on were niche. Back in the 90s, we had virtual reality arcades, and they weren't very common. There weren't many of them. Like if you went to Vegas, you might find a place you put on the helmet. Dave & Buster's, I think, has a VR experience now. So it's called a location-based entertainment kind of thing, where you like go to a place and there's like a motion simulator, and you like put on these headsets. Have you guys ever seen this? Like Dave & Buster's, like they have a VR like experience they have there. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Like they don't sell many copies, like compared to like a PlayStation game or something like that. They're like the top selling VR game of my era was called Dino Panic, or something like that. I don't remember the exact name. Like there was like a pterodactyl that like flew around, and you had to like run around, and the pterodactyl would attack you in VR, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, it's 3D, it's incredible." It sold like 100 copies. Like like the unit count is like minimal, right, for these things, and there weren't that many VR arcades, in the world, but it was fun to work on. Like, and I did that with CSCI 40 and 41, and so I think you guys have the skills now to go out and apply for a junior dev job. And the world's different now. Like when students used to ask me, prior to the pandemic, like, where can I get a job in Fresno to do programming? The answer is like nowhere. There's not, I mean, there's some places, but there's not a lot, and now, if you do care about, working in Fresno, there's Bitwise Fresno that will, like they have meetups and things like that, and you can try and get a job through them. But there's also a lot of work from home positions that are available online. And a lot of companies are trying to find work from home programmers because there's a labor shortage, actually. So you remember trying to ask that question before COVID? Yeah, it's different now. Yeah, it used to be I'd just be like, yeah, go to the Bay Area. Like if you really want to find a job, like you can find stuff in San Diego, in Fresno, but not a lot nowadays with work from home. I would probably go after one of those things. I would try to see if I can get a junior dev position, because I mean, any job really that you have in tech will help. But like, if it was up to me, if you guys want to become like software engineers, programmers, computer science majors, whatever, you want to get jobs and internships doing programming. There's related industry fields like IT, and you might do a little shell scripting and things like that. And those are okay. Like if you can't find anything else, it's fine. There's a lot of jobs in IT as well, but they don't pay as well as computer science. And so I would really hunt around and try and find a junior dev position. Also, if you know people, that helps too. Like you just can hear on the grapevine, so, some companies looking for a junior dev. It could be hard while you're still in college, because a lot of times they just want to hire full-time people, not part-time. And so you're going to have a little bit of a disadvantage till you graduate. But summer jobs are a thing. Like I did summer jobs every year in college, pretty much. Aaron is currently working for Berkeley, doing like an internship kind of thing. So, they're out there. They're out there. Okay, so COVID allow work from home being a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is where you're at right now. You've got kind of a basic understanding of all the major important parts of C++, and yeah, you should go out and do for it. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording for this pep talk. I just do want to say one more time, give you guys a round of applause for all of your hard work this semester and sticking with it and doing a great job. It is harder to learn online, in my opinion, than it is in person, but you guys have done it. So give yourselves a clap emoji.